I will preface one thing. I think it's
God.
gross. However, we were camping once, and Linda didn't have her toothbrush, or it's something happened, like it fell in something dirty, and I'm like, oh, well, just use mine.
You make it out of trees.
Yes.
Drew Scott, one of the stars of the hit show Property Brothers, is making headlines once again. As the charming contractor navigates his life, Scott has found himself embroiled in a personal crisis that has left his future uncertain. But what news has Scott revealed? And how will this revelation affect his life and career? Join us to find out. The heavy lawsuits. In the year 2021, two residents of Las Vegas made headlines with their shocking tale. They spoke to a local news outlet, KTNV, about their experience appearing on a Property Brothers episode back in 2018. What should have been a dream come true turned into a nightmare, as the couple found themselves dealing with faulty wiring, crooked walls, and a slew of other issues that made their home far from the sanctuary they had envisioned. Mindy and Paul King, a married couple, were extremely disappointed, leading them to pursue legal recourse. The lawsuit was officially filed on the 14th of January in 2021 against both the production company and a local contractor involved in the renovation. Legal documents from Clark County validated the lawsuit, transforming what was initially an exciting experience into a prolonged legal conflict. The Kings told KTNV that their kitchen, intended to be the focal point of their new home, turned out to be a major source of their disappointment. They realized that the backsplash was incorrect. The grout lines were not straight, and even worse, grout had seeped into the burners of their new stove. What was supposed to be gleaming and flawless emerged as marred and inadequately completed. Additionally, they noticed baseboards that were uneven, doors that were difficult to open and shut, and electrical work that did not meet safety standards. Instead of feeling secure, they were anxious whenever they surveyed their home. Their experience with Property Brothers started off on a positive note. They had applied for the show in the year 2018 while on the hunt for their perfect home. Being informed that they would be the first episode filmed in their area only fueled their excitement. They diligently followed all the necessary steps to make their dream a reality. Fans of the show are familiar with the premise. Jonathan Scott proposes two renovation options, and the homeowners make their selection based on preference, cost, and timeline. This process often appears enchanting to viewers. Initially, the Kings felt the same magic, but unfortunately, the outcome was not what they had anticipated. Per the report by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, the Kings acquired their residence for $550,000. Initially, they planned to spend $110,000 on renovations, but that figure eventually increased to $168,000 and eventually reached $193,000. Contrary to popular belief, being featured on the show does not equate to receiving complimentary renovations. The homeowners are accountable for covering all expenses, and in this instance, the Kings funded the entire amount on their own. They made sacrifices, such as forgoing their honeymoon to finance the acquisition of the property and the subsequent renovations. After agreeing to participate in the show, the couple transferred funds to Cineflix, the production company behind Property Brothers. They entered into a contract guaranteeing that all construction would be completed correctly and up to standard regulations. Villa Construction, a nearby company, handled the renovations on their property. The lawsuit did not involve the Scott brothers directly, but rather focused on Cineflix and Villa Construction as the defendants. The situation gained attention from the public quickly, prompting a reaction from the opposing party. An attorney representing Jonathan Scott implied that the legal action was motivated by a desire for a hefty financial settlement. The claim was made that the Kings had been unwilling to cooperate in addressing the remaining issues in their residence and had even engaged in a smear campaign against the brothers. Mindy and Paul found these accusations hurtful. They expressed that their main goal was to receive a detailed plan for completing the renovation in a timely and efficient manner, rather than piecemeal progress over an extended period. Mindy took her grievances beyond the legal system by lodging a formal complaint with the Nevada Board of Contractors. Unfortunately, this avenue also led to further frustration, as the board dismissed the complaint, citing that the Kings had hindered Villa Construction from re-entering their home. However, the couple vehemently refuted this claim, asserting that the contractor had unrestricted access to their home for 2 months following the reveal on television, even before they officially moved in. Additionally, workers had been inside their residence at least 10 times in the 4 months after they settled in. According to them, they had cooperated fully and repeatedly allowed access, only to be met with unresolved issues each time. The courtroom turned into the primary site of conflict. Following the initiation of the lawsuit in January, the defendants presented a motion for dismissal in February. Judge Susan Johnson presided over a hearing on March 30th. Despite her order in April, the legal dispute was far from over. The Kings decided to revise their complaint on May 5th in an effort to advance their allegations. Subsequently, on May 25th, the defendants made a move to have the case dismissed once again. A hearing took place on June 29th, however, no resolution was reached. Various hearings were arranged, delayed, and at times canceled. By November 23rd of the same year, a scheduled hearing was taken off the docket, leaving the case unresolved. Mindy and Paul found themselves burdened in all aspects of their experience. Their journey began with a sense of anticipation, willingly giving up personal pleasures such as their honeymoon to focus on creating their ideal home. With almost $200,000 invested in renovations, they had faith that their efforts would result in a secure and aesthetically pleasing residence. However, they were faced with a dwelling that brought more tension than peace, sparking a prolonged legal battle. But that's not all. The rift shifted its focus and now came between the brothers. Stay with us. Cracks between brothers. The Property Brothers are famous for their charisma, collaboration, and talent in transforming ordinary houses into fantasy residences. Jonathan and Drew Scott have been captivating audiences for more than 15 years, showcasing enchanting renovations. Despite their cheerful personas and successful TV presentations, these well-known twins have also experienced their fair amount of conflicts. While appearing on SiriusXM's Andy Cohen Live, a direct and bold question was posed by the host inquiring about the equality of their bank balances. This playful query led to a deeper discussion on the disparity in their work and compensation from earlier years. Jonathan confessed that he believed the distribution of work and pay was not equitable in the beginning stages. He pointed out that he dedicated more time to filming compared to his brother Drew, who would make brief appearances at the start and end of episodes while Jonathan was consistently involved in every scene, actively participating in the projects. After a decade of this unequal workload, Jonathan finally brought up the matter with Drew, questioning whether he should receive a higher salary for the additional on-camera time he put in. Drew had a unique perspective on the situation. He mentioned that while Jonathan was the one performing in front of the cameras, Drew was heavily involved in behind-the-scenes tasks that often went unnoticed by fans. Drew handled the contractual and business aspects, which was a significant responsibility. He believed that their workload was just divided differently, not unfairly. However, both brothers acknowledged that their differing viewpoints had caused serious disagreements, demonstrating that even the closest siblings can have disputes over money and acknowledgement. Many viewers may not be aware that both brothers have extensive experience in construction and renovation. While Jonathan is the licensed contractor, Drew also has significant experience working on building projects. In addition to their on-screen personas, Drew was previously a licensed broker, bringing valuable expertise to the team behind the scenes. Working together, Jonathan focused on tools and designs, while Drew handled contracts and deals to ensure everything ran smoothly. The argument served as a prompt that achieving success is usually not an easy task. Despite having fame, wealth, and a large fan base, the Scott brothers remain ordinary individuals. While they have succeeded in establishing a business empire, they have also had to navigate through conflicts and find a way to harmonize their responsibilities and acknowledge each other's contributions in their partnership. Through storms and setbacks, Jonathan and Drew Scott's constant smiles on their popular TV programs may give the impression that success has come easily to them. They have seemingly flawless careers on screen, stunning homes, and seemingly flawless lives. However, in reality, their path to fame and wealth was paved with hardships, challenges, and experiences that have molded them into the individuals they are today. Before they gained fame as the Property Brothers, they faced challenges that pushed their limits. Jonathan Scott, in particular, experienced a setback that nearly shattered him. When he was younger, He aspired to be a magician and dedicated his heart and soul to pursuing that dream. Unfortunately, his aspirations were crushed when he fell victim to a scam. The deceit left him financially ruined, with nothing left to cling to. It was not just about the financial loss, it was also about the shattered dreams he had envisioned for himself. The struggle of rebuilding his life from scratch haunted him for many years. Drew Scott experienced letdown as well. The siblings encountered repeated rejections before finally being given an opportunity. However, their strong connection helped them navigate through difficult times when success seemed out of reach. They persevered through setbacks and eventually discovered the road that led them to fame. Despite gaining fame, their lives off-camera were more complicated than they appeared. Occasionally, the achievements they experienced led to friction in their relationship. Jonathan acknowledged feeling undervalued in terms of compensation for the effort he put in. He bore the burden of working long hours on set, in contrast to Drew's focus on the business aspects, which sometimes created a sense of imbalance. Their conflicting approaches resulted in genuine disputes. Nevertheless, they consistently managed to reconcile, prioritizing family over financial considerations. However, challenges were not limited to their professional endeavors. In their private lives, the brothers encountered difficulties that were more profound than any financial transaction. Drew and his spouse, Linda Fan, had desired to have children for an extensive period. They had envisioned the joy of cradling a newborn in their arms and hearing the sound of little feet running around their home. Sadly, despite their fervent hopes, the realization of their dream eluded them month after month, year after year. The sorrow weighed heavily on their hearts, leaving them feeling bewildered, adrift, and uncertain about how to proceed. Linda's poor health added another layer of difficulty to the situation. She was struggling with Graves' disease, a condition that targeted her thyroid due to an abnormal immune response. This raised significant challenges during her pregnancy. There were moments when the future seemed daunting and insurmountable. Nevertheless, Drew and Linda persisted in their journey. Seeking guidance from medical professionals, they explored options such as intrauterine insemination and IVF. The process was arduous, laden with emotions, and draining. However, after enduring years of sorrow and anticipation, they were eventually blessed with children. Their second pregnancy was perceived as a miraculous occurrence, a symbol of the fortitude required to maintain hope. Drew experienced a profound transformation in his feelings after becoming a father, surprising him with the impact it had on him. He reflected on the significant shift he felt the moment his child came into the world. His priorities changed, putting family above work commitments such as meetings and shows. Being present for his loved ones became his top priority, wanting to be there for dinner, school activities, and ensuring his children never felt abandoned. To Drew, true love meant showing up and being actively engaged in his family's lives, regardless of how hectic life became. Jonathan also experienced a shift in perspective. Witnessing his brother embrace fatherhood motivated him to strive for a similar equilibrium in his own life. Although work may require a lot from him, he recognized the value of spending time with family. He became comfortable declining opportunities that took him away from his loved ones. Fatherhood presented its challenges for Drew. He acknowledged that, in the beginning, he found it difficult to divide duties evenly with Linda. When their son Parker was born, Drew had to go away for school, leaving Linda to manage everything on her own. This situation served as a wake-up call for Drew. He recognized the potential harm in one parent shouldering all the responsibilities. Subsequently, he vowed to be completely involved, demonstrating his commitment not just through words, but through his actions. Open communication became critical in their partnership. Through gentle prompts, transparency, and collaborative effort, they established a routine that suited their family dynamic. Their perspective on parenting shifted over time. In Drew's early years, he envisioned steering his child towards his own hobbies and passions, such as basketball. However, fatherhood brought about a change in his mindset. He no longer sought to dictate his child's identity. Rather, he aimed to encourage his son to explore various interests and find his own way, be it in sports, music, art, or any other field. His ultimate goal now was uncomplicated: to nurture a compassionate and empathetic individual. The story of the Scott brothers illustrates that success is always accompanied by challenges. Despite the outward appearance of happiness and glamour, their path was marked by difficulties, learning experiences, and personal development. From Jonathan's financial struggles to Drew and Linda's fertility issues, and through their disagreements, uncertainties, and emotional setbacks, their journey molded them into the individuals they are today. They came to understand that material wealth and public recognition are no substitute for the value of a close-knit family and the significance of supporting those closest to you. But this didn't hold Drew back from finding peace. Stick around. The love that shaped their forever. Some romantic tales start unassumingly, almost unintentionally, but eventually evolve into a powerful bond that withstands all challenges. Drew Scott and Linda Phan's love story commenced in 2010 at Toronto Fashion Week. That evening, Linda donned the persona of the style enforcer, showcasing a bold badge and distributing lighthearted citations to those deemed fashion offenders. Drew's attention was immediately drawn to her. Not only was she physically attractive, but she exuded a charm and charisma that set her apart from the rest of the attendees. There was an indescribable quality about her that caused him to pause, and in that precise moment, his heart recognized her as someone extraordinary. The pair swapped contact information and agreed to see each other once more after several months. What started off as a simple get-together evolved into something deeper. They enjoyed sushi, sipped on hot chocolate to stay warm, and conversed for hours. Linda referred to it as the longest initial meeting she had ever experienced. Drew unexpectedly joined her at a karaoke event that same evening, revealing his determined nature. When he took the microphone, she noticed a different side to his charm, and what might have been a brief night turned into the start of a lasting connection. In the year 2012, Linda decided to live with the Scott brothers in Las Vegas. Many people were curious about the dynamic of living with Drew's twin, Jonathan. However, to Linda and the brothers, it simply felt like the right decision. They collaborated on projects, resided under the same roof, and provided mutual encouragement in all aspects of life. Linda eventually became a part of Scott Brothers Entertainment, showcasing her innovative ideas and making a significant impact. Over time, her role in Drew's life evolved, transforming into more than just a partner, but also a companion who believed in his aspirations. After spending 6 years creating special moments together, Drew felt ready to take the next step in their relationship. In 2016, he meticulously organized a proposal that was both heartfelt and extravagant. Everything was meticulously planned at a restaurant in Toronto, from the whimsical Dr. Seuss cake to a personal rendition of Train's "Marry Me."
You know the song "Marry Me" by Train? Of course. So I recorded that song in studio, and the whole plan was in the restaurant. When it comes to dessert, I wanted that to play. She's also a Dr. Seuss freak, so I made that.
And a gathering of friends and family for a surprise celebration. As he presented Linda with a specially designed ring, Drew expressed his desire to build a future with her. To Drew, it was evident that when you find someone like Linda, you never want to lose them. They began building their own home as a team. Jonathan assisted them in turning a dated house with old carpets and poodle wallpaper into a stylish and contemporary space. Each wall and room bore the mark of their labor and creativity. Upon completion, the house no longer resembled a renovation but rather a manifestation of their affection. Drew likened the experience to a honeymoon staycation prior to the wedding. In May of 2018, their dreams finally came true. Surrounded by 300 guests from different parts of the world, they exchanged vows in Italy under clear skies. The picturesque setting added to the magic of the moment, but the true beauty was in the promises they made to each other. Together, they embarked on a new journey, sharing their happiness with all those who came to witness their special day. Drew and Linda couldn't help but feel grateful and blessed as they had love, family, friends, and a promising future ahead of them on that unforgettable day. However, their tale unveiled even greater revelations. Several years following their wedding, they disclosed that they had in fact legalized their union earlier in Nashville, with a modest hot tub ceremony. This intimate occasion was kept solely between themselves, illustrating that love can be demonstrated not only through extravagant displays, but also through the small, private decisions made by two individuals in love. Over time, friends and family frequently inquired about when they would start a family. Drew would respond with a grin, expressing their eagerness for parenthood, while also honing their caregiving skills with their nieces and nephews. He was confident in Linda's abilities as a future mother and aspired to be a reliable and supportive father for their children. Their dreams came true when their first child was born. They were filled with excitement just 3 weeks before the baby arrived. The birth of not one, but 2 children completely altered their lives. Drew found the experience of holding his baby to be more significant than any professional accomplishments or TV successes. From the evening of their initial sushi outing to the promises exchanged beneath the Italian stars, and later to the happiness of starting a family, Drew and Linda's romance highlights the organic development of genuine love. True love does not hasten or diminish. It provides a stable foundation for 2 individuals as they navigate obstacles, share laughter, and cherish every experience in life. But how did Drew achieve this height in fame? Let's find out. From small dreams to big fame. Achieving fame is always a difficult path to walk. Drew and Jonathan Scott, who are famous as the Property Brothers, faced numerous obstacles, uncertainties, and moments of blind faith along their journey. Their narrative reflects a combination of determination, innovation, and a determination to never be defeated by obstacles. The path that led them to their current status as celebrities appeared to be smooth sailing, but in reality, it was a series of gradual advancements that eventually culminated in something remarkable. Even from a young age, the twins had a passion for entertaining. They delved into acting in various capacities, from small plays to improv to sketch comedy. Their ability to captivate audiences and bring joy to others came naturally to them. As children, they also honed their skills as apprentice clowns, showcasing their talents at parties and gatherings. Despite their youth, they approached their performances with a seriousness beyond their years, setting rates as high as $100 per hour. This early endeavor not only boosted their self-assurance, but also introduced them to the world of entrepreneurship long before considering their future paths. However, the brothers did not always follow the same route. Jonathan found a strong fascination with magic, envisioning a career as a magician, whereas Drew directed his attention towards athletics, particularly basketball. With his height, talent, and determination, he approached the sport with seriousness. Meanwhile, he also ventured into the world of acting, making appearances in series such as Smallville, Breaker High, and Madison. While both brothers were in pursuit of their dreams, they aimed to find equilibrium between their passions and the pragmatic aspects. Jonathan studied construction and design, while Drew pursued kinesiology when they signed up for classes at the University of Calgary. Despite their different academic paths, they shared a mutual goal of breaking into the entertainment industry. The main obstacle they faced was the common belief that artists typically struggle financially. They were determined to avoid the stereotype of the destitute artist. This led them to brainstorm and eventually come up with a new career path that would have a significant impact on their lives: real estate. Motivated by a late-night advertisement and resolved to use their time wisely, they decided to take a chance in their initial semester of college. They decided to rent a 7-bedroom house conveniently located across from the school. After cleaning, repairing, and subleasing 5 of the rooms, they started earning a monthly profit of $800. Even though they only invested $250 initially, the return on investment was astonishing. 12 months later, after making strategic enhancements, they sold the house, making a profit of $50,000. This initial venture demonstrated to them that the world of real estate could provide opportunities for financial independence. They continued to apply this method repeatedly, renovating houses for the following 15 years. The profits from each endeavor increased, as did their self-assurance. Jonathan obtained a contractor's license, while Drew focused more on the purchasing and selling aspects. Although not glamorous, their work provided them with a sense of security. Throughout the journey, they held various jobs such as flight attendants, personal trainers, waitstaff, retail managers, security personnel, and web developers. Each job presented its own challenges, but they gained valuable experience, learned patience, and developed resilience. However, their desire for entertainment continued to persist. In 2002, they established Davidian Production Group, an autonomous film company, with their elder sibling. Despite dedicating time to acting and directing, Drew maintained hope that their artistic talents would eventually match their professional accomplishments. Drew had to abandon his basketball aspirations due to injuries in 2003, prompting him to pursue a new goal. In 2004, he obtained his real estate license and co-founded Scott Real Estate Inc., with Jonathan aiming to offer comprehensive services for clients in the real estate market. While the business experienced rapid growth, Drew couldn't shake the feeling that his passion for acting was being overshadowed by his real estate endeavors. In 2006, he took a courageous step by moving from Calgary to Vancouver with the goal of pursuing acting within a year. During this time, he engaged in acting and voice training, assisted in production, and actively immersed himself in the industry. He meticulously organized his activities using a color-coded spreadsheet to optimize his time and effort. However, despite his efforts, he found himself facing a staggering debt of $100,000 by the end of the year, rather than achieving the success he had hoped for. One evening, feeling agitated and disheartened, he came to the realization that he needed to go back to his area of expertise. He reached out to Jonathan via email, requesting their marketing blueprint, and ventured back into the realm of real estate, this time establishing a new location in Vancouver. Within a short period, their enterprise grew to include branches in Calgary, Vancouver, and eventually Las Vegas. With dozens of staff members, their presence in the real estate industry became indisputable. When Drew started sharing his ideas for TV shows, he found himself drawn to creating programs centered around real estate. Instead of his original pitch, producers kept offering him hosting opportunities. Initially, none of his ideas gained traction, like the failed Project Realtor Idol. However, everything changed when producers discovered his twin brother. This sparked the idea to develop a show featuring both of them. My Dream Home evolved into the globally popular show known as Property Brothers. Jonathan and Drew's dynamic, expertise in real estate, and charisma on screen quickly endeared them to viewers. HGTV decided to air the show, leading to their long-awaited fame. The brothers saw their influence increase as they achieved more success. Drew made the move to Las Vegas in 2010, and within a year, he and Jonathan bought a house together. The remodeling of the house was featured in the show Property Brothers at Home, which was broadcast in both the US and Canada. The first episode of the series had the highest ratings for any HGTV debut since 2009. Several more television programs were produced, including Property Brothers, At Home on the Ranch, in which the duo traveled back to Alberta to renovate a friend's mountain property within a tight time frame of 10 weeks. Their shows combined elements of familial affection, renovation skills, and a touch of suspense to captivate their audience. Unexpectedly, the siblings also followed a different interest: music. They collaborated with songwriters from Nashville to create and produce two country singles, Hold On and Let the Night Shine In, for their album At Home on the Ranch. These songs were available on various music platforms such as iTunes and Google Play, and Hold On even made it to the 38th spot on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart. The music video for the song was viewed by millions. They also launched a new single called My House, which featured Eric Paslay, and all proceeds went to support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Their personal lives continued to hold significance despite their increasing fame. Drew and his fiancée Linda Fan were featured in a television special titled Drew's Honeymoon House, documenting the renovation of their Los Angeles home over a 12-week period. Viewers witnessed not only the home transformation, but also the deep love and teamwork that influenced their relationship. Reflecting on the past, it becomes evident that success was not a stroke of luck. It was achieved through dedication to clown acts, minor acting gigs, aspirations in basketball, late-night cleaning jobs, numerous somersaults, overwhelming debts, and a relentless faith in their chosen journey. Today, the Property Brothers are well-known figures in many homes.
And it took him 6 years, and then I said yes.
We had to let that moment marinate for a while. We'd love to be close to Shauna's mom here. Unfortunately, there's just not many houses that come available.
However, the success and smiles seen on screen are the result of two brothers who persevered, from their early days painting faces at kids' events to becoming successful men who slowly and steadily built their empire. What do you think about Drew Scott? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more celebrity gist. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.